Hi guys, I'm Cody J and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now today's video is all about contouring, specifically contouring for men. So if you're one of those women's out there, this video probably won't help you out too much, but you can keep watching. And if you're one of the men's out there, this video should help you. So you'll definitely want to keep watching and see if I can teach you something new. Okay guys, like I said in the intro, today's video is specifically about contouring for men. Now, the difference between male and female contouring is slight, but it definitely is noticeable. Most women want to use contouring to really slim down and feminize their face, and depending on what type of makeup or aesthetic a male has, they either want to make their face more structured, more chiseled, more masculine, or they want to make their face a little bit more feminine and soft. Now for me personally, when I contour, I like to bring down my forehead a little bit, because I do kind of have a big forehead. I like to bring it down and round it around my face while I'm accentuating my cheekbones and really bringing attention to the center of my face. So to do that, I'm going to start off with some concealer to really highlight some points of my face. Now when it comes to the highlighting aspect of contouring, some people use a concealer that is a bit lighter than their foundation color. So this is the JSC C7 concealer. This is really brightening on my face, and I switch between that and I use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. This is shade 15 Light. Now, it really depends on the look you're going for and how dramatic you want your contouring to look. I typically tend to use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer that's kind of close to my foundation shade, if not just a shade lighter. But sometimes, depending again on the look I'm going for, I will use something a lot lighter if I really want that brightening effect. Now, you do need to take into consideration that although you're using this for contouring, you also want to make sure that it has the type of coverage you want to conceal underneath your eyes specifically. Now, with that being said, I sometimes use products like the JSC concealer that has a really high coverage formula, and then I'll tone down the brightness with a light powder. So for today's video, I am going to stick with the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. Now where you're going to want to put it is pretty typical for most people. I have a little bit of a shadow that comes here after I shave sometimes, so I definitely like to put some right here to diminish that a little bit. Then I'm also going to apply it down the bridge of my nose, because when we blend it out, we want to make it look like our nose is a little bit more, you know? Then after the nose, I'm going to apply it in the middle of my forehead. Some people do, you know, weird shapes, little X's, whatever. I just put some right here. And then of course, you want to make sure you put it underneath your eye. Now I used to put about that much and call it a day, but we don't do that anymore. We really pack it on heavily underneath your eye, and then I like to bring it down towards the side of my nose and really bring it out to like a weird triangle looking shape, like a sideways triangle. So a little Cody J tip for you if you're using a concealer that doesn't have as much coverage as you'd like, such as the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, what you can do is you can apply it for just a moment or two, let it sit a little bit, and as it starts to dry, the coverage will increase, and then you can blend it out. It takes a little bit more work to blend it out, but it will blend out, and you will end up with a higher amount of coverage. So now that it's been about 30 seconds since I put it on, I'm just going to start blending it out with my beauty sponge and make sure it's damp, of course. Now I like to blend everything out in circular motions. And when you're going up the bridge of the nose, you just want to go right up the middle and just blend it in. Now once you get to the forehead, I really like to stamp it in just right here in the middle, because that's where I want most of my coverage to be. And then I will go around in a circle to blend out the edges and just go in a circular motion and really blend it in. Now once I have it like that, I will turn my beauty sponge to the side where there's no product, and I will just stamp it around the circle that I just blended out, just to make sure that it blends seamlessly. Now moving on to under eyes, I'm just going to take the tip of the beauty sponge and I'm really going to stamp it in to really get most of the coverage right here on my cheek area, which is where I need it pretty much the most. And then you're going to work your way up to your under eye and just blend it out. Now I like to take mine right to about the tail of my eyebrow, so like it, you know, kind of rounds and connects. So that's about as far as I go out, but I like to bring it down about halfway down my cheek. And the same thing for the other side, just stamp it on to get the majority of the coverage and the product right here on your cheek area. And once it's blended out a little bit, work your way up to your under eye, and again, blend, 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 blend. Now again, one last time, I'm going to take my sponge on the side that doesn't have any product, and I'm just going to go around the outer edges of the concealer that I just blended to really make sure it blends in seamlessly with my foundation.
We don't do harsh lines on this channel.
Now once you have your concealer in place, you want to quickly set it with a translucent or a light powder. That again is just user preference. I personally am going to be using a light powder. This is the Maybelline Fit Me in shade 15 Light. Now I'm just going to tap a little bit of this into the lid, and I'm just going to take that same beauty sponge and I'm just going to take the tip of it and I'm going to dab into that dab into that powder and just really stamp it on anywhere that you put that concealer. But you want to make sure you're really pressing it in. That way if you started to get any creasing at all, it smooths it out before it's really set in place. Now the reason why I'm using a light powder instead of a translucent powder is, again, I don't want my concealer today to be that brightening, and even though this concealer is much less brightening than like a Jeffree Star concealer that I have, I still don't want it to be that bright today. And this powder is really good at giving a blurring effect, and it really makes everything look seamless and blended together perfectly. So I don't know if you can already tell, I can tell immediately there's no harsh line whatsoever. It's extremely smooth, extremely soft, extremely blurred, and that is what we are going for today. Okay guys, once you have all the highlighting done, we're going to go in with a Wet n Wild Mega Glow contouring palette. Now this looks like this right here. This is one of my favorite contouring kits so far. I don't use the lighter shade, I only use the darker shade. And we are going to take a Morphe X Jeffree Star brush. This is the JS2 brush. It's just a really fluffy brush. Now I have not used this for contouring yet, so I am going to give it a try today and see how I like it. Now normally when I'm contouring, I will use a brush like this. This is just an Essence bronzing brush, but I've been using this for my contouring. I used to use a brush that kind of looked like this, and it's a lot smaller. It really is user preference. Now, I know some people like Raw Beauty Christy prefers a smaller brush because she says she can really get in there and really make it precise. I've tried that, and for me, it just gets too harsh, too fast, and I don't like that. Now, for me, when I use a larger, fluffier brush, it seems like the product is just put on a lot more even. It's not as harsh right off the bat, and you can build it up to your liking. Okay, guys, so I'm going to dip into that, like I said, and tap off any excess, which with this palette there's not a lot of it. Now for me, I obviously have facial hair, so it changes it a little bit. So this is contouring for men with and without facial hair. So if you do not have facial hair, I recommend really sharpening out your jawline. So to do that, you would take the powder, and even though you won't see a difference on me because I have facial hair, what you would do is you would just look up a little bit and really go along the hard line right here of your jawline. Just really brush on that contour, and I think it's a great idea to take it back towards your ear a little bit because you don't want to see it like it's just a sharp line and then like nothing. So I just take it out and blend it in a little bit just so it looks like it's a continuous natural contour. So again, just go underneath your chin and work your way all the way around your jawline. Like I said, you're not really going to see anything. This is just a demonstration for those of you who do not have facial hair. Okay, now that that's done, for those of you who do have facial hair, when I'm doing my cheeks and I'm trying to carve them out a little bit, go like this. So you see kind of where your natural cheekbone is. Mine's right here. Ish. So my hollow's here. So this is kind of where I'm going to put my darker shade to contour it because you want to give it like a shadow so it has the illusion that it's going in, so it looks like it's a lot more prominent up here, which is how you get the illusion of cheekbones. So I'm going to, again, go right here. And I like to go to about right here, the outer corner of my eye, kind of that area. And I'm just going to stamp it on and go in circles. And lately I've been taking it into my facial hair a little bit and pulling it up towards my ear. Then I'm going to work it up into my hairline. And I like to stay not super close in, but not super close out. Just make sure it's going into your hairline, that way you don't see the color difference. And just take it out to about like right here. So you just are going around the perimeter of your face to really shrink it and bring the attention to the middle of your face and make it look like you have half the face. Because in 2019, we don't do full faces. So you're just going to work your contour up into your hairline and around the perimeter of your face, going up towards your forehead. So I'm going to move my hair out of the way, and for this I'm just going to go right around the top of my hairline, again going into my hairline because you don't want to see any color difference. And just really, you don't need to put a lot of pressure. I don't use a lot of pressure. Just nice and soft. It applies the product just fine. You don't want it to be super harsh. You just want a nice natural looking contour and a glow. Now with my forehead, like we did earlier when we were using the concealer, I went in a circular area. So the lighter shade is right here. So when I'm taking my darker shade and I'm going around the perimeter, I'm also kind of going in like a rounded shape right here to really bring down my forehead and make it look a lot smaller. So again, we're just going to go into your hairline and bring it down the perimeter of your face. And once it gets to right where the corner of your ear is, you're going to start bringing it down. And like I said, go to about the outer corner, outer third of your eye. And again, like I said, for me, I've been taking it into my facial hair a little bit, just to change it up a smidge. Now once you're done with the basic contouring of your face, if you have any spots that are a little bit more harsh than you'd like, you can just take your beauty sponge, whatever product you have left on it, and you can just stamp over it a little bit just to soften it up a little bit. So like right here when I first stamped it, it's a little bit too harsh, so I'm just going to gently go over it Again over here, just a quick little toned down method. And you're pretty much good to go. Now quickly moving on to the nose, I'm going to take that same contouring kit and I'm going to use this little e.l.f. blending brush. It's just a small fluffy brush. I'm going to dip into that, tap off the excess, and I'm just going to go down the bridge of my nose. Because if you remember, we put the concealer down the middle of the nose to brighten it up. So we're going to contour the sides of our nose to give it a shadow, because the shadow plus the brightening right here really makes it look like you have a much slimmer nose, and that's what most people go for. Now you need to remember, the further out you go with your contour, the larger your nose is going to look. So the closer you go into the bridge of your nose, the smaller it's going to look. So I'm just going to take this brush and my contouring powder, and I'm just going to go right here. Now for me, I like to start right here at the ball of my nose and kind of work my way up and go into my eyebrow. Same thing on this side. And I'm just going to blend it in and go up to your eyebrow and really bring it into the corner. And just keep blending. And the same thing on the other side, right at the ball of your nose. And bring it up into the corner of your eyebrow, right here in the corner. Now at the very bottom, I'm just going to lightly go under the tip of my nose. Now for me, what I like to do is I like to make sure that the shape is there. So I'll go in a little heavy-handed at first. And then again, I'll just take that beauty sponge and blend it out a little bit more so it's not as harsh, but still has the shape. So again, take your little beauty sponge, and I'm just going to kind of go on the side of it where there's not much product, and I'm just going to stamp it lightly. And on the other side, just to tone it down a little bit while keeping the shape and keeping that shadow so that you have the illusion of a snatched nose. So as you can see, it already brings some structure to your nose, because my nose just, I don't know, it's weird, I guess, I don't know. But this allows the shadow to really make it look like it's going straight down. Okay, and quickly, the last step is highlighting. So I'm not a huge fan of highlighting. If you've seen any of my past videos, I usually put it on my cheekbones, sometimes on the tip of my nose, and that's about it. Now again, you don't need to do this step. This is more personal preference. I'm going to do it because, again, I don't really have much cheekbone action going on, so even with my contouring, it allows me to have the illusion of cheekbones, but then this is really going to make it pop because it is a pop of brightness. So for highlighter, I'm going to take my Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter. This is in the shade Radiant Lights. And I'm going to take my Morphe M501 brush. This is just a really fluffy brush. Now, the fluffier the brush, the less product is going to be applied right off the bat, which I like. Now, if you're using a smaller, more dense brush, it's going to really pack on the highlight, and you're really going to have like a banging highlight. So again, personal preference. I like a lighter, less dense brush for my highlighting. So before we apply the highlighter though, we really want to mesh all of our powders together and bring back a little bit of moisture in your face. I'm going to be using my Morphe X Jeffree Star setting spray, and just give yourself a healthy dousing of it. Oh, so good. So once you have that spray on, it's going to really blend and mesh your powders together. It brings back a little bit of hydration, and it also really helps your highlighter stick to your face a lot better, a lot faster, and it shows up a lot better. Okay, so you can apply your highlighter either with a dry brush or apply the powder onto your brush and then spray it with a setting spray or water, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to dip into that a little bit on both sides of my brush. I guess all over because it doesn't have sides because it's a brush. And I'm just going to take that same setting spray and spray my brush a little bit. And then I'm just going to, right at the high points of my cheekbones, stamp on that highlighter. Now again, I don't like a blinding highlight, so I don't have any that are like super, super bold. But just enough to where it catches the light when it hits it. And again, you can go in with a little bit more as you need. And I just like to stamp it on and go upwards a little bit. So whenever I'm turning the camera, or the light hits it, you really see it kind of pop up. You see it? Yeah, hopefully. Cool. And then again on the other side, just stamp it from the outer corner of your eye, right on top of your cheekbone, the highest point of your face, and bring it up a little bit. Now again, everyone's placement is a little bit different. This is just where I like to place it. So I'm going to take that same brush, dip into the same highlighter, and I'm just going to go down the bridge of my nose. And what that will do is bring a little bit of extra brightness and light to it, and it'll really make it look like it's really snatched. So when you're turning your face, you can see it hits the cheekbone there, hits the nose there, hits the cheekbone there. Now I know some people like to put it up above their brow area. I don't find that necessary. And some people will put it on their cupid's bow. I have facial hair, so putting it on my cupid's bow would not make much sense, and I don't have a lip on yet, because that's not what this video is about, so I'm not even gonna throw a lip on. But overall, contouring is very easy. It's definitely a lot of personal preference on how you place things and what look you're going for. Again, if you're trying to feminize your face or you're trying to chisel out your cheekbones and things like that, it kind of differs a little bit. And again, a lot of it is just trial and error. I used to contour from like here down and it was a mess. Then I went up here because they're like, oh, you know, I see stuff online that says start at the top of your ear and go down. Again, for me, it's a little bit more personal preference. So what looks best on me may not look best on you. Again, a tutorial is to give you tips and give you tricks and ideas and really explain how certain things work. But again, you need to combine that with your own personal face because everyone's face is different. Some people do the 3 where it just goes around and around, but again, that doesn't work for everyone. Everyone's face is different. Just because you put it here, some cheekbones might be up here, some might be a lot lower. Again, personal preference is super important, so just always remember that. So again, if you are a male who's contouring, which is what this video is all about, if you have facial hair, remember you don't really need to do the contouring on your jawline because you won't really see it. If you do not have facial hair, I definitely recommend chiseling out your jawline. It definitely gives you that more structured, masculine, chiseled face if that's what you're going for. So hopefully these tips and tricks really help you, whether you're a male or a female. Honestly, a lot of the ideas are the same and techniques are the same for both male and female. There are just slight differences which definitely can make a big difference. So let's quickly jump into today's MUA shout out. Today's MUA shout out goes to the mind-blowingly talented Eric Kerner. I will link all of his information in the description box below. You absolutely need to go follow him and check out his work. It is absolutely incredible. And if you would like to be my next video's MUA shout out, all you have to do is of course be subscribed to my YouTube channel and retweet this video link when I post it onto Twitter. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. They are both at Cody J Artistry. And if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up down below. Click the big red subscribe button so you can join my YouTube family, and I will see you guys in the next one.